All right, here we are with AJ Shively. AJ, thank you so much for joining us, man. How you doing on this lovely, rainy Memorial Day weekend?
I am doing great. Just I had been looking forward to that sunshine, that vitamin D, some time off. And I think the good thing about the cold and the rain is it gives you a nice excuse to just herkle derkle, stay in bed, sit on
Completely.
the couch.
I think that's what most people are thinking. I think most people are totally jazzed to be able to
Yeah.
completely chill this weekend.
Oh, it's like, thank God, my beach bod's not ready. I can just sit at home
Right.
with my blanket.
Exactly. And that's what they're all thinking. You and I are fine with the beach pod
Oh,
situation,
no,
but
no, no, no. Oh,
they're
we're
all
ready
thinking,
to go
yes,
always, always. No, 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 no.
always,
We're just
always.
empathizing. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And they need the rest because coming up on June 13th, of course, Saturday night at 9:30, they are busy because they're coming to see Broadway's Next Hit Musical with special guest AJ Shively live at the Phoney Awards at 54 Below.
It's
And
absolutely true. Yes.
that's why they're all resting today. So it's so exciting for us that you are doing this show with us. The cast is like totally buzzing. We are so psyched to have you. And we luckily we got you primarily through your connection with our social media, our PR person, Amy Sapp, with whom I guess
Yeah,
you've known
yeah.
Amy for a while.
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
That's
yeah. She
awesome.
reached out and kind of uh asked like, would you ever be interested in like publicly making up a musical on the spot? And I was like, well, in college, in musical theater school, we would
Yeah.
our like late night fun was to break into the School of Music and steal a practice room and sit around a piano and like improv musicals. And I have not been able to do it since, and I'm jazzed. I'm so excited.
Isn't is it's funny because that was my experience as well. I was in the
Yeah.
improv group and we did that as well. We experimented. So what was that like for you doing that back? Was that your first at first and you went to University of Michigan, am I right?
Yeah, I went to the University of Michigan. Yes.
Okay. And were you a theater major or musical theater or what
Musical
were you?
theater.
Musical theater.
Musical
Okay.
theater major. Yeah. I loved it. I love school. Something I loved about Michigan was, and it might be specific to kind of my class or like the time I was there, but we were all such nerds. Um, and everyone was so smart. And I just remember orientation weekend sitting down with two of my new classmates meeting for the first time and having this like really deep discussion about like religion and its place in society, and my in
Yeah.
my mind just going like, holy shit, I'm in college. Like,
Completely.
this is a college conversation.
Yes, yes, it's true. You get those totally expansive,
Yeah,
right? Expand,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm
which
living the cliche.
you completely. So you were in and then you were in an improv group as well, or that was your
No,
musical theater people?
this was how nerdy we were. It's like after a full day of like musical theater lessons and then a full night of musical theater rehearsals, we would go to the musical theater building to sit by a
Yeah,
musical theater piano, and like we had enough
make
people in our
up.
class who could play and just like make up songs in the style of, Jason Robert Brown
I
or
mean, how freaking cool is that, right? Like, and you're right though. I mean, I have two daughters, one of whom is about to finish 10th grade. So I'm starting to, we're really starting to have to think about this. And she's a musical theater kid, and that's what I think about is like you are about to enter a period of time where you can immerse yourself completely, So I get it.
yeah.
I mean, and what a great thing to do. So are you, so growing up, was improvisation part of your training at all? Did you do anything like that?
No, I did plays at the children's theater. And I was always a huge fan of really anything. I loved Saturday Night Live and Mad TV growing
Right.
up, of course. And when I was really little, all that. I know that's more sketch than improv, but
Yeah, yeah.
you know, uh and I have always been an admirer, and I've always been too shy to like try it in public. And like I know, I take like the 101 level at UCB, right? The like
Yeah.
intro course and that kind of stuff. And but I didn't really follow through with it, and it's something that I've been more of a fan of than a
Yeah.
participant in. And I love it. I guess my biggest improv experience is coming from a big Irish Catholic family and just like trying to hold attention at the dinner table, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think a funny thing is that a lot of people's perception of improv, I think, is that it's about being clever and it's about being fast and right. And I mean, it's ultimately like coming up with ideas, and
Yes. Yeah.
which to
Well, and
me, that's actually
a deep understanding of what is going on. Like,
right, right. Whereas and to me, a lot of that actually equals writing and stand up.
mhm.
Whereas to me, real improv is what you're talking about. It's about just being present in the moment and sitting around a table and actually reacting. It's a lot
Yeah.
less scary. And when it's done right, it's really not that. It's really just about like being present and accepting your idea. So I would guess even more than the level 101, the Irish Catholic family is
Yeah.
probably the prep that you needed for
Yeah,
for the
absolutely.
13th.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, and
you,
when you do Shakespeare and stuff, like I had instructors and directors who would be like, "All right, let's do this again," and leave the text, leave the poetry, and just paraphrase with your contemporary language. And so, like
right,
that kind of improv also, and like improving on a film set, or
right.
the director doesn't say cut, and you just have to keep going,
Keep
and
going, right.
you know,
Well, and also another question I have for you is, I mean, you're right. You've done film, you've done TV, you've done live. You've done Broadway, you've done theater, and I imagine we'll say particularly with theater where you've done, Paradise Square. How long did you do Paradise Square?
uh, I was in development with Paradise Square. I think the first workshop I did was in 2018, I want to say.
Okay.
And then we went to Berkeley Rep in 2019. And then we were supposed to come to New York in 2020, and then obviously
Yeah.
didn't. And so we ended up doing another out of town in Chicago in 2021, and came to New York in 2022. So what is that? All
That's
said and
four.
done, like 4 years,
Yeah. Right.
5 years. And in the development of a new musical, particularly with Paradise Square, where there's no source material, and we're just
Yeah.
kind of like these are the archetypes of the people that we're following. There was a lot of improv that happened. Our
Right.
director was Moises Kaufman, who
Yeah.
devises pieces. So you start with kind of a basic truth, and then you're kind of like, well, what happens if A plus B? What does A plus B equal?
Yes. Yes.
One of my proudest moments is like, in my opinion, one of the biggest laugh lines of the show is a line that I completely just like off the cuff started
You just
saying, and
found.
we had a like incredible sound mixer who would just leave my mic on, even though it wasn't in the script, but
Ah.
just leave my mic on for that moment. Um, you know, and I do a lot of new work, like developing new work
Yeah.
is kind of what keeps me in the industry. Like
Ah. That is so cool.
being in rehearsal with smart people is kind of my happy place. Um,
Yes.
and there is a lot of experimentation that happens. And you have to listen hard and you have to kind of anticipate where a story could go, like a
Yeah.
microsecond before it goes there, right?
Yeah. So okay. So that's a great moment to dig into. So anticipate where a story will go a microsecond before. So I think what you're talking about is exactly what improv is.
Yeah.
And my question slash challenge to you is it a microsecond before, or is it that in order to get yourself there, you're just so present that just like you would be in life, you're ready to pivot wherever it goes?
I think it's that. I think it's that as long as you have already been picking up little breadcrumbs, like a phrase somebody said that like
Yes.
either they laughed at a lot or you thought sounded insane. So that you
Right.
like, those callbacks, which is the same as being in conversation with like a really loud, boisterous family who like probably all have ADHD. Like,
Yes, yes.
like,
Like it's like somebody that you can really banter with, someone you know well,
yes,
someone yeah, right. And then it's like especially I would guess with a family like you're like that comfortable with, you're so comfortable with that you can be present enough, you could pick up on everything, you could bring things back, and
yeah,
also you're so, you went to school, you studied, you're so good in your craft that you understand what the trajectory, in a sense, needs to be. You understand the arc of a story. You understand,
Yes.
you know, how a character moves through space and through your
Yeah.
body. You have all the tools in place you have the technique and the tools in place to apply it on top of that presence, and thus you are capable of providing something that seems fluid.
Right, you understand structure. So you're like, okay,
Right.
well, we've already crossed kind of what has to be the climactic moment of this piece. So like, or like, we've crossed the midpoint. So like, I can't bring up a new midpoint. I have to
Yeah.
let's ski this hill. Like, we've
Right.
climbed up the mountain. Let's ski back down now.
Yeah. So
Right,
you're a
like
pro.
understanding the structure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know how to improvise. You've done this already. You've been doing it your
I'm
whole
still
life,
nervous
man.
though. I'm still nervous.
Well, yeah.
Well,
Well, and
you guys are, because to join a team who knows each other so well to like be the interloper is very intimidating. Because
and yet, I think what makes the team good is that everybody everybody's top skill is acceptance.
sure, sure, that was
You
what I was
know?
gonna say in response to what you were just saying about like kind of having your technique and kind of letting go of everything else, and also being willing, like being familiar enough with the people you're with to like maybe like tease them or like to not be
Yeah.
polite, really,
Right.
like
Right.
that kind of like
Yeah.
intimacy is for a lack of a better
Absolutely.
word. Yeah.
And we also sometimes we talk about the fact that in this we have an interesting situation in this cast, and I've been lucky in my career because I've always had this. I'm a strange beast in that I'm literally a professional improviser. Like I've managed to
Right.
build a career on improv, which is weird. And in my whole improv career, I've always worked in casts. Like I've had people that I've worked with, a cast of four for 4 years, and then someone
Right.
switches out and everything. So it's very similarly to any show. It's very cast based, and the the power of that is right. We all know each other very well, but we are all it's all conditioned on the fact that we can accept each other. But because there's only four of us, like everybody's kind of got to be a home run hitter. Like
Yeah.
you can't, you know what I mean? But in order to be that home run hitter, it's what you're saying. It's like you don't. There's no room for politeness. Like
Yeah.
just take the big swings.
Take the
Like
shot. Yeah. Yeah.
and trust that everyone's gonna whatever that big swing is, everyone's in.
Yes.
100%. Which
Absolutely.
which takes away the fear on the side of the big swinger, because if you're going to be accepted, great.
Yeah. Well, and
You
if you
know
miss that swing, then you know that someone's going to be there to catch that ball and like
exactly,
turn it into something
exactly.
else. Yeah.
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 So my question to you, which was like 10 minutes ago, which we've managed to veer off beautifully from, is you do theater, you do music, excuse me, you do stage, you do screen, you do big screen, small screen. Um, where when you're on stage, let's say, and you're doing Paradise Square, and you've done it for all of these years, you've done 5 years of it, and you're doing it again, where is the improv in that? Like, you know what I mean? How do you keep it fresh, and
Yeah.
how do you find improvisation within that?
Um, it's definitely a show by show basis, but for that particular production, it took place in a bar, and so there were probably at least a dozen people on stage at all times. So if you weren't the center of the story, because as we were just saying, when it's your turn when like it's your at
Yeah.
bat, if your scene partner's at bat, like you go play first base, right? Like you
Yes.
can't have too many home run hitters swinging at the same time.
Right.
So a lot of it was a story about community, and so one of the most important things about the evening was feeling like you were in with family, like you were in this big, messy, chaotic family. And so when you weren't in the scene, again, trusting the mixer to like manage your microphone level,
Yeah.
we all stayed in character the whole 2.5 hours of that show. Like there were plots happening upstage that nobody knows about that just like enhance the richness. So when you have a one line interaction with somebody, there's already a whole history of you can feel that
Right.
humanity between them. That's one way improv, absolutely.
Yeah.
We also like when changes are implemented, or that like you get a new song, but it hasn't been staged or anything yet, and you are at the point in the process where you're trying to do runs. We would like improv
Yeah.
dances, like big dance solos. We would do like improv staging. I really enjoyed. Um, we were kind of told like this is your set. The bar's here. Front door's there. Back door's there. The light is here.
Go.
Exist, right?
That's
And
great.
that's great. So that provides so much. That just makes a performance alive because you're improving. You're like, how, what
Yeah.
does a human do? Like,
Yeah.
but in a different situation where you're like, okay, and again, you have to use the same words and everything like that, but you
Yeah.
find nuance. Like, you say the word fork too many times, it loses its meaning, right?
Right.
But fork in context, like, can mean a million different things.
Right.
Um,
And I
and
guess the way you say whatever comes before fork affects the way you say fork.
exactly, or like if you
Yeah.
dropped a prop earlier in the scene, you can be like,
Yeah.
it's just like context. There's limitless possibility
Right.
to what any word can mean in the
Yeah.
context of a show. But if you have an experience where you're like either being put into a show that's like a well-oiled machine, or you have a director who's like very specifically staging you, being like, okay, when you start the line, you are on stage left, number 8. When you say this word, put your hand on the table, and then cross to number 3. So
Yeah.
when you're in a really tight environment like that, which feels very antithetical to improv, it's it's even like improv, it's all about that connection. You have to see your scene partner to make the show good. I mean, you can absolutely go
Yes.
rote and like get,
Yes.
and we've all seen those shows and we're like, no, that's good, right?
Yeah.
But to
Right.
make it alive and visceral, it's you got to just lock in, and some kind
Yes.
of something will happen, and it may be mischievous and have nothing to do with your job that you're doing. It could just be literally the actors are having fun with each other, but something will happen when you're repeating something over the course of years. Something new will happen, and you have to just like keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and
Right.
like accept the newness as a gift, and like let it inspire you to like do something while you put your hand on the table when you say this word and cross to 3, like
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
motivations can't be set, like you can change that up,
Right.
you know
Right. And
yeah,
I love and again, there was a word that, there was again that word acceptance. Like you
yeah,
said it yourself. And I also love the idea that like, it could be as simple as just that it's your hand on the table because you don't know. It's not really about the hand on the table. It's where does that take you?
exactly,
Who
yeah,
knows? And it's the sort of the gift of the who knows that's really what it is. That
yeah.
that might take you anywhere, and I guess that's really what keeps it fresh. Um,
We had a guy in Paradise Square again because it's all of us and we're trying to basically our set was like scaffolding, right? It's not a
yeah,
literal set. And so you're trying to like in this like nasty dive bar in the 1860s, trying to like give the vibe of it. And we had one guy in our ensemble who one day I was like, he is he is seeing and stomping on cockroaches, and like he was so specific about it that I could like I could tell like you knew what he was doing, and like nobody told him to do that, and he wasn't upstaging, he wasn't like making a show about him, he was just like seeing a cockroach and like,
that
and I
is
was like, this
amazing.
is so smart, and that's improv, like
Yes.
that's improv, not just for laughs, not just for like the
No.
SNL of it all, or like, but
Right.
that's like
Just
that
him being present.
him being present, and that is something that maybe somebody in the audience will kind of see out the corner of their eye and just take in, and all of a sudden the bar changes for them, the image in their head
Yes.
becomes more specific.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My stepfather was a dancer on Broadway. He was in Fiddler on the Roof, the original production, for 11 years,
Oh
actually.
wow.
As a matter of fact, just yesterday,
11.
11 years.
That's
Yeah. And
crazy.
during that time, during that time, Jerome Robbins came to him and said to him, I'm working on this new show. It's an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet with these gangs. And he was like, I'd love you to be one of the dancers. There's these two gangs, there's the Sharks, the Jets. I'd love you to be one of the Jets. My stepfather, who was a wonderful human being, way too humble, said his response was, I don't feel comfortable with my jazz dancing. And like Jerome Robbins like begged him, you got to do
Yeah,
this. And he kept saying no. So eventually Jerome Robbins gave up, but he could have freaking been a Jet.
that's crazy.
Meanwhile, yesterday, I bring the, I just because this just came up, I just found this yesterday and going through a whole bunch of things. This right here, I'll show it to you. This is a little, it's like a little keychain, I guess they were given during the production. And I was looking at it yesterday. His name was Lorenzo Bianco. And it says, to Lorenzo Bianco from Hal Prince.
Oh crap. That's so freaking cool.
That
Oh
wild.
man. I mean, he could have been a jet, but he did have steady employment for 11
He
years on
did for
Broadway. That's
11
crazy.
years. He's in the film too. Yeah, if you've ever seen the
Oh,
film
really? Oh yeah,
of
okay, okay. I gotta look him up.
Fiddler.
Okay, okay.
Yes, yes.
Bianco.
You'll
Okay.
you'll see there's the scene in the inn where Tevye bumps into they're all dancing singing to life, and at one point Tevye bumps into one of the Russian dancers, and they have a moment, and the Russian dancer puts out his hand. That was my
Yeah,
stepfather.
and that's your stepdad. Ah, was he
Yeah,
one of the bottle dance guys, or?
he sure was.
Ah!
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, so I've
But
watched him many times.
you have. But the reason I bring big red hair, beautiful red hair. So
Okay.
the reason I bring him up is he would tell me a story. He and Zero Mostel were friends, so I remember growing up that like sometimes I would wake up in the middle of the night because the phone would ring at like 2 in the morning, and I would answer the phone, and my mom would answer the phone at the same time, and whatever, and there would be some crazy loud dude on the other end yelling crazy thing. And it turns out it was Zero Mostel
Just
just
Zero
calling
Mostel,
to,
Colin, from
yeah,
somewhere,
exactly,
having drunk
being
something.
wild, exactly. So, but my stepfather told me that all the time, the scene, the nightmare scene in Fiddler on the
Yeah.
Roof, that every night Zero Mostel was off somewhere on the stage doing something wild and different.
Yeah.
Like there was a point at which my stepfather said he looked back and Zero Mostel was standing behind what is her name? Broom. I can't remember the
Broomhilda.
name. Broomhilda. Yeah, Broomhilda. Is
Something
it
like that.
Broomhilda?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Standing behind the bed, her bed, just
Oh no,
pretending to
Broomhilda
be.
is
It's not.
Valkyrie. It's
Yes, it's
Brumacera.
Frumacera.
Brumacera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, standing behind the bed up there, just pretending to pee upstage. Just like no reason, no one could see it. Just
Just to keep it alive. Well, that's actually something that. So I had always, after musical theater school, intended to go to like get an MFA and real
yeah,
acting school. But I was very fortunate and was cast in La Cage aux Folles on
yes.
Broadway very shortly after I graduated from college. And that is the longest run I've ever done consecutive performances.
How
I did
long
that
was
for a
that?
year. I did it for a year and a half.
So
Um,
how many performances do you?
oh my God. Oh, I didn't calculate that. I don't know. A
Think
lot,
right,
hundreds.
a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um,
what was that like?
it was I eventually after like 5 or 6 months, I kind of like came into consciousness on stage while speaking, and I was like, "Oh, I'm really bad in the show right now." Like I was completely like rote, um, and I was like, "Well." If I'm not going to grad school, like this can be my grad school. Stanislavski, if you read
Yeah.
his books, the whole third year of his 3-year program is working on a single role for the whole year. And I was like, well, here I am in
Wow.
this role. Let me see what I can do with it. Like, how do you maintain a role?
Yeah.
And watching Douglas Hodge, who won the Tony that year for his performance of as Albin, who had done it on the West End, he had already been performing this role without a break for like 3 years, came to Broadway. He was still fresh as a daisy, right? Still like beautifully nuanced, alive performance. And I noticed that every couple of shows, every couple of performances, he would just do one thing a little different. And nothing that involved any of his scene partners, but he would like take a sip of tea where he had never done it before. Or like just one little thing. And that's another tiny way that improv can live within a very
Yeah.
structured environment. Um, because you need it, like like the life of the piece, like you can't, you have to keep creating what you created.
Right.
It's not the interesting thing, it's the act of creating it that's interesting for the audience to watch.
Yes.
And so like finding those, and that was like the biggest, one of the most important lessons I learned on that show in my grad school.
Keep
Was
surprising yourself.
keep surprising yourself, or just like fuck yourself up a little bit and see how you get
Right.
out of it.
Right.
Again, without involving your scene partners,
Yes.
unless they're like
Yes.
with you and along for the ride, like let's fuck some shit up, right?
Yes.
But because we've all also worked with actors who will fuck shit up and like you're not prepared, and now all of a sudden you don't get to participate in the storytelling. You can only try and
Yes.
yeah, like
Yes.
you know,
Yeah, it's not to enhance the piece. It's with
yes,
different motivations.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, with different, yeah, yeah. But just like a little, like he'd or he'd like just start stirring the tea for that scene instead of sipping it, and just like stir it. Just a little thing like that, which like nobody notices unless you've like seen the man do it 200 times, and you're like, oh my god, this is how he stays
Yes.
alive.
And so my question is, was it a deliberate choice to start to stirring, and then from there let's see what that does to him, or was it in the moment without even thinking about it that night that happened?
I don't know. I never had the balls to ask.
But
Um,
what's your intuition?
but my intuition is a little of both.
Okay.
So, or not to be so specific as tonight, I will stir the tea
Right.
and see what happens. But it could be. I think, you know what? This scene is starting to feel a little stale. So, like, let me
Okay.
do something at this moment. And then when
Got
the
it.
moment arises, it's like, well, I have a spoon, you know,
Yes.
or you know, like,
100%. I have a when I teach, or I don't say this as much anymore, but it's something I used to say a lot, although it's still equally true. When I teach improvisers, particularly young ones, and you're in a scene and you're just standing there and you have no clue what to do.
yes,
I was to say the answer's in the desk, which
yeah,
really means the environment. Just interact with your environment.
yeah.
It'll give something back to you. You
Stella
know.
Adler said just clean your nails. If you suddenly feel aware of your body, just clean your nails,
That's fascinating.
and
It's true though,
then you
I
can
guess.
relax. Yeah,
Yeah, it directs your focus to a mystery.
exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
That's wonderful. Oh, well, speaking of directing your focus to a mystery, so we'll direct your focus to the mystery of June 13th. So you say that you are nervous that night, and you said it's because you're sort of the new person coming into this pre-existing group.
yeah.
But so on the other hand, I know my answer to this for you, but for you, what are you bringing in that's like your superpower?
Um, I think. Ooh, that's such a
Beyond
good
the fact
question.
that obviously you're like, you sing, you do it all. You do killer Irish accents,
I do
especially according
accents.
to the
Yes, I do
internet.
accents. I do accents pretty well. I think a benefit of being raised in Ohio is I've got like the aw shucks comes pretty easy.
Nice.
Um, I think um,
But as a like
a
as a
cr-
perform, yeah.
yeah, I think a lot of the work I do involves being like a charming person who like really messes up somehow or like something bad happens. People like to see bad stuff happen to me, but because like somehow I'll make it okay.
I
Like
love that. I love that. And is that you in life? Is that you as a performer? Is that you both?
um I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess it is me in life because everything you do as a performer is comes from you in life, right? But
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think it's more of a like musical theater archetype than real life. Real life,
Yes.
everyone's got the highs and lows. I don't think that makes anyone special dealing with them, getting through them, right? Um,
100%.
yeah, I think like being gullible and being a little like aw shucks from Ohio is unfortunately the case.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
100%.
I've lived in New York City for like decades at this point. I came as a kid, like, but I still am like. I'm like a sucker. I'm just like a sucker. I'm a mark. If someone's like ready for a scam, they're like that guy, and I'm like, yeah, totally. Tell
Yeah.
me about it. Yeah.
Me too, man. We're both eager and excited, which
Exactly.
is awesome.
Like every movie trailer, I'm like, this is maybe the best movie I've ever seen in my life. I cannot wait.
That's hilarious. We are the same person in
Yeah.
this
Ohio's a
universe.
test market, man. I was like raised to be open to the ideas.
That is so fun. That's right. We some on the next time we chat, we'll chat about Ohio because we
Yeah.
mentioned this briefly. But you grew up there, and I went to college there, and
Yeah.
we both have a love for it. So that's freaking
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, and we cannot wait. We cannot wait for the 13th. We really can't. So June 13th, 9:30 p.m. 54 Below, Broadway's Next Musical Live with H.A. Shively. We'll hear some. We'll see the not the gullible, but the lovable guy who will
Yeah.
fall for anything, and but will be present the entire time, accepting his incredible ideas. And who knows what'll happen?
Who knows what will happen?
Who knows? And thank you so much for doing this, man. We can't wait to
Of
work with
course.
you.
Of course. I'm so excited.
And
I'll see you
enjoy
soon.
your weekend. Yeah, we'll see you soon. All right, take care, man. Thank you.